Welcome to qnawire.
Here we have a composite function, one function inside another, so we're going to use the chain rule. And before we start, I always like to write 1 over x as x to the negative first power. It's easier to differentiate that way. So here's our function. Now let's find the derivative. So we start with the derivative of the outside function. So we bring down the 5, we raise the inside to the 4th. Now we need to find the derivative of the inside function, so we multiply by it. So the derivative of x is 1, and then the derivative of x to the negative first would be negative 1 times x to the negative second. Okay, now we just need to simplify this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite my x's that have negative exponents as fractions. So we have 5 times x plus 1 over x to the 4th power times 1 minus 1 over x squared. Now that answer looks great to me, but what if you're told that you're not allowed to leave the fractions in there? So what can you do to alleviate that situation? And remember that simplifying is a bit of a judgment call, and some instructors will expect more simplifying than others. So what we could do is we could multiply this whole quantity by x to the 6th over x to the 6th, and I'll tell you why. So for the first quantity that has fractions in it, we're going to need to multiply it by x to the 4th power. And for the second quantity that has fractions in it, we're going to need to multiply it by x to the 2nd power. And if we do that, then we have to balance this out by dividing everything by x to the 4th and x to the 2nd. So that would be x to the 6th. Okay, the reason we want to multiply this one by the x to the 4th power is so that we can combine them into 5 times x to the 4th. Okay, I'm going to back up a second and go over a property with you before I do this. So remember this property, if you have a to a power times b to a power, it's equivalent to a times b to the power. So if you had a to the 4th times b to the 4th, it would be equivalent to a times b to the 4th. That's what we're talking about here. So I'm going to write this as x times x plus 1 over x to the 4th. All right, so both of them are inside the 4th power now. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. I'm going to write it as, well, we really don't have to with the other one. We can leave it as it was. Just x squared times 1 minus 1 over x squared. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is multiply the x by the x and the x by the 1 over x. We're distributing the x. And then we're going to multiply the x squared by the 1 and the x squared by the 1 over x squared. We're distributing the x squared. So we have 5 times a quantity x squared plus 1 to the 4th power times a quantity x squared minus 1 all over x to the 6th. So if your goal was to not only differentiate but simplify so that you no longer had those fractions in there, then that would be your answer. If you didn't need to do that, then you probably would have stopped at a previous step.